This picture speaks for itself. Americans are the Titanic, just outside the panel and slowly approaching the iceberg. Some of the crew deny its existence, while others in the crew simply downplay the damage it will cause. Then there's an extremely vocal and aggressive faction of the crew that believes the closer they get to the iceberg, the better. Yeah, it's like the people who see it and say/do nothing about it. It's even bigger than that when you think about it. Racism has been going on since the dawn of time. In the context of the US, every president from Washington to Trump and everyone else has failed to solve it. It was taking considerable amount of time back in Washington's day and it's still taking considerable amount of Trump's time. In terms of problems, it's probably the largest problem this country has tried to solve, and it's been going on for 240+ years and hasn't been solved yet. Some people deny the fact that Washington had slaves. But Fundi and G40hers. His family had hundreds of them. Yeah, Washington had slaves. That doesn't mean people weren't trying to fix the situation during those times. John Lawrence adamantly fought against slavery even before Washington became president. I'm pretty sure Washington had sex slaves. Though. I heard some things about something, but though, open hands. Racism has been going on since the dawn of time. I think it's important to push back on this one. It's half true. Bigotry, xenophobia, demonization of outgroups have been with us since the beginning. Racism, however, is something else entirely. Racism is an ideology. It takes those ugly impulses and twists them into an entire worldview, replete with a pseudo-scientific and political machine to promote it. Racism, in the common use of the term to just mean prejudice, has popped up throughout history. Racism as an institution, however, was created and it's relatively very modern. We have to understand why it came into being if want to understand how to stop it. It emerged at the exact same time as capitalism, nationalism, and liberalism. The instant an educated working class was needed for wage labor of more developed manufacturing, an underclass was needed to continue the less market-valued labor. This created a twin need, something to keep the emergent working class from feeling too exploited or low, while also cultivating a servant class that would be unable to demand any value from their labor to make up for the losses in wages paid for the ruling class. Suddenly every aristocratic and capitalist philosopher starts talking nonsense about the inherent value and dignity of man, of liberating and enlightening our inherent potential, while adding systematic exceptions to large swathes of people who just so happen to belong to groups they could violently enslave. To make sure no one caught on to how hollow the self-serving bullshit was, sciences emerged that started spewing garbage about degeneracy, bloodlines, phrenology, etc. To convince everyone not only were these underclass populations of a different and scary way of life, but fundamentally subhuman. That's racism, and that shit is younger than most nations on this planet. I get that this is long-winded and arguing something you almost certainly didn't mean, but it's important because when we talk like racism is timeless, we normalize it. We give a free pass to it. We treat it like it's some inevitable part of the human condition, and it isn't. It's a system that was and is created, cultivated, and enforced by the ruling bodies that govern our lives. There is no racism gene or racism essence. It's a system of. I have a family member who posted all about All Lives Matter and got a bunch of backlash from followers. That person got a lot of hate in the comments and lost plenty of followers. I tried calling and explaining that without Black Lives Mattering, all lives cannot matter. The next day, she went out and protested in her hometown with a BLM sign and protested for Black lives. Then a new post came out that talked about how much this experience changed her mindset, and she understands now that BLM and then ALM and her remaining followers loved that she was able to have a changed heart and see this from a different perspective. Then we come to find out that she only protested and posted all of that to get people off of her back, and she said she lied and faked it. I am outraged. How can someone do this? I am sure that she is not the only person doing the same thing, but it is despicable.